Hi, for today, we're gonna see After Effects. So this is the first interface you're gonna see. Here's your new composition, your project panel with your effects controls, your preview, and select where you hit play if you're writing text and effects controls. And down here, you're going to see your timeline of each composition that you're working in. So first, we're gonna input these files that I already have set up. So I'm putting a few MP4s, MOV, PNG. You can input mostly everything. I haven't encountered too much I can't take. And so here you're gonna have your project panel showing everything. I'm gonna drop them into a new composition. You can either drop them in or you can click on new composition. One will ask you details without anything in it, like a blank canvas, and then so if you click on it, or if you just drop it in, it's gonna ask you your duration, how long do you want it to be? I'm going to do 30 seconds just because that's what I want to show you for now. And then I'm gonna hit OK. Well, here I'm using this dimension. So hopefully that dimension is actually pretty big. If not, I'm gonna show you it. So here you have all these. The images come in a little bit smaller, but you can extend them. And your videos are coming in at the exact time. So if you shorten it, the ghost of it is gonna stay here, which you can, shorten there, but it's just kind of a good reminder to know like where it stops. And so let's see about the new composition. So right here, this is composition. It gives you the type. You can right click composition settings. Here's the background. Black background is great for projecting. White background is great for other stuff. It depends on what you're doing. Right now, it did a square composition because that's what I had for the first video, I guess. So I'm gonna do like a 1920. I'm gonna unlock log aspect ratio, and I think actually forgot. So here's a presets. 1920 by 1080 is a pretty good one with 24 FPS, so frame per second. That's actually a pretty good setting, so I would suggest just doing that. Here's your frame settings, otherwise you can change it here. Frame aspect ratio is for a computer, 1699. And here's your duration right here. It's 22 seconds. It set it up for this amount of seconds that it's in the first video, so I guess I'm gonna. So to rename, you should rename it to like first composition. And that's where everything is. You can create multiple compositions with different kinds of videos and files in it. You can also drop in like audio files. So if you have MP3 file, then drop it in, and that way you can input audio into it. So now that we have this, we're gonna take all these and I'm going to transform, and I want to fit to comp. I'm gonna fit to comp don't do fit to comp because it'll actually squish the image. So do either width or height, whatever. And it fit everything and see how everything else is kind of outside. So I'm going to take these, I'm gonna move them around just to see all of them. So this one's this one. If you double click onto it, you're gonna go into the actual composition of this. If you get thrown into that, just double click onto the actual composition up here, and it'll throw you back into it. Sometimes that happens to me where I'll do that. So this one, I'm gonna move down here, and then this one, I would suggest putting this at a quarter if you already know what you're working with. If it's not too heavy for you, you can put it at half. That way you can actually see the resolution of this. So see the resolution on that was a little worse. I'm gonna do half for now. I usually work at a quarter. It's a lot easier. Um, so here, this one, I'm gonna zoom. I'm gonna hold shift because if you don't hold shift, this is what happens. I'm gonna hold shift. I'm gonna put it here. I'll teach you how to do a mask. And I'm gonna put this one on the side. just as a snippet that I want to add to the video right here. And then we'll add some text as well. So here you can add a text right now and just say text one. You can pick your type, your font type, your font size. I want it bigger and how it lands, position, put opacity, and I'm gonna go back to here. So your text was here, up to here. I'm gonna move it around and move it here. Then I'm gonna start with transform. So each one of these will have um, this little arrow. So you're gonna drop down. You're gonna see the transform for this video. For example, I'm gonna do fit. And I've already resized everything. It doesn't matter. So as you can see, everything's kind of moving. So this transform, I want it to come in with opacity of 0. So let's start with this. This little time watch is gonna start the keyframes. So if you do, let's say, without selecting it, if you just do that, it's gonna be 0 all the way, right? Or semi-opacity all the way. But if you start with, let's say you start at 0 and you hit this, here's a keyframe right here. And then I want it to reappear here, found it, and then I want it to fade out. I'm gonna take this over. I want it to start fading out here, so I'm gonna click on this at 100 again without changing it. So if I just click here, I just add the same thing again, and then 0 again. And I want this last keyframe to be exactly at the end, so I'm gonna move this. So you can move them pretty easily. So now you see it coming in and then fading out. So to be able to preview your footage, you can either hit play up here or you can hit spacebar. That's also play. The green that appears is rendered versus not rendered when it's not appeared. So when you hit play, do you see as it's rendering? That means that it's kind of saving, kind of like cookies in a browser. It's saving where you left off. So if you don't change anything of that footage in between, it'll play a lot faster for you now, rather than waiting to load like a video, like from YouTube. Um, so then the next thing I wanted to add was let's do position. So I'm gonna start with this position. Let's do rotation. Let's say, oh no, yeah, let's do rotation or scale. Let's just go. I'm gonna do both at the same time. So I'm starting here, and then here I want it to change. So I'm gonna take this and see how it's adding this. And then I'm going to rotate at the same time or scale at the same time. And then that's how I want it to end. I can always like downscale it here and have it fade out. So that's what it's doing at the same time. And if I don't want it to happen at the same time, the scale and the rotation and the movement, then I can move them around. I can also pick more than one. And so that will kind of show you different options. Okay. The other one that I haven't shown you is rotation, but it's the same thing as everything else. So just play around with it. I can just leave it rotated at this without the little timestamp, without the little keyframe. So it'll always be at that rotation. To just so you know. Control Z always works here, or Command Z on the Mac. For text, you also want to be aware of like the color. So if you want to change the color, I'm going to change it to the same. So I'm going to do the eyedropper. I want to change it to this. And I'm also going to drop down the little arrow, and I want it to move position. So let's say I want to do this position. You can always drag this as well instead of just moving it with your mouse. But so I wanted to start oops, Didn't want it to move there yet. So I want to start there. Let's say I want to do the same position as this. I'm going to take these and I'm going to paste them here. The other thing I can do is I can start kind of creating this pattern and just keep going like it's bouncing. And so you'll see the kind of bounce method that I was trying to tell it. So you can do a lot, and then you can fade out by opacity. A few other things I that you can do for another thing is masking, and you can mask in various different ways. The tool sets are right here, very simple. And you would find the mask here. So if the video is here, then as you can see, the mask would appear in the video drop-down menu. And it would say mask 1. Here's the opacities, the feather expansion. So if you wanted to come in or out, depending on where it is, or we can do feather, which is kind of what I did with this one. The other type of mask you can do is, let's see, is this one. So it's just more custom based on what you want, almost like Photoshop lasso tool. Let's say you have an intricate shape that you want very specifically. The nodes kind of interact with the other mask the way that Illustrator does. So be careful with adding a mask on top of another. But yeah, here you go. Here you can see this second mask add up. And let's feather it as well. You can turn on and off something and you just tell it none instead of add. That way you can see the difference in between each mask. So I'm gonna go with this one just to kind of show you. But here mask stays kind of the same. You can also do a mask that is the shape is keyframed. So then you start here and let's say you want to move. And let's say you want this to be a different shape at a different place in the keyframe. You can get these to come in and out however you like and move with the video. And then here I'll do another one. And I'll do one a bit more extreme. There we go. So then when you play it, you should be able to see the mask moving. Or an effect, easy effect that I'm sure you'll need. So you want this to go faster, then you drag and drop, you type in time warp, drag and drop it here. You'll see this. And here's the speed. It's right now it's at 50. When default usually is 50 to 100 depending. You can do a little longer. I'm gonna do 132. So this is with time warp. And I'm gonna take this FX, I'm gonna click on it, and that will turn off the time warp. So I'm gonna let it render again, and that's slower. Turn it on. You'll see when I turn it on and off where it lands. So let's say I do this. So it gets to here faster to the end. If not, here won't be the end. You can copy, Control C, Control V, same text with the same keyframes, so in the same movements. If you want something copied from one to another, you can just take these and copy them to the next. So you can do that with a lot of these. There's parent links and all these to make them kind of all similar if you want them to have the same animation. But I'm actually I think that that's more advanced or more intermediate to advanced. So once you get into it, if you really want to explore those options, you can. I'm just letting you know the easiest option right now. Here, something I forgot to mention is if you're in this effects, just go to the little arrow here and you can just go back to projects. That way you can see your video again. So once you're done and you think you're okay with what you have, there's two options, right? So there's option one, which is just add to render queue, and you will do an output to, which you will output to wherever the folder is. Output module and settings. So here's your settings, which is the comp settings. These are best. You can change it here, the full resolution, best quality, if you want draft quality, something that renders a lot quicker, and then duration of the actual video. So that's 30 seconds. There's also high quality and lossless, so you can see which one you want to do. This will be where how much RAM and how much time it has elapsed. Something that I do more often though is I go to here and then I go to export to media encoder. And you should, if you have downloaded After Effects, Premiere, or any of those, the likelihood is very high that media encoder will be here. So will be downloaded into your computer already. It looks like that. If not, download that from the Creative Cloud. That will be really helpful because you can queue up various. You can do it here in After Effects too, but sometimes it takes a lot longer and you need various videos to put together. And sometimes it's not just one video that you're rendering out. Something else you can do is just create a new comp, same frame rate, same size, let's say, and durations that is 130. And I did this, and I'm going to create. I'm gonna put the comp that I already did. I'm gonna drop it in. Maybe I'll want like some things that. Maybe I want some things that I did already within this, or maybe I want to cut off a part of it, depending on what you're doing. So a lot of times, you'll have pretty complex comps, like this one, just not too complex. It can be a lot more. But since you have this and you want to combine everything or have everything combined, so that way you can put it into your main comp. So these will be your smaller version comps, where it has all the little tiny intricacies and details. Another thing you could do is take 2 or 3 of these and right click on it and say pre-comp. And what that will do is it will comp out the 2 videos or the 2 animations that I just did in that area. So if you are stuck, like you don't want this entire video, but you just want a little part of it, here you can see the pre-comp. You can change the name, like I told you, rename. And if you go into it, it's just this picture and this, which is the things that I chose. So now that we have media encoder, you can see the queued up video here, and you would have various. That's why comps help a ton, because I could do a queued render of this, this, and this at the same time. And what we will do is it'll be kind of like batch rendering on V-Ray, where or Keyshot, where you'll add up all the queued renders and then you just let it go. And once you play, it'll render out all the ones that are in the queue at the same time. So you want H.264, you can click on this and it'll open up a drop-down menu. So it says high bitrate or it says like match source. And that will be, so you can see the file size right here, is 38 megabytes versus 1080. Depending on the video, you would be able to do high bitrate or high quality. Um, some of them will have a different file size, so just beware. High bitrate right now is 38. High quality right now is 76. So something we didn't talk about was sound. You can drag and drop it in just like a video. The same way, and you'll see the little icon here versus whether something has sound or not, and that will give you an option of export audio or not. And here's the rest of the video preview, which will be really helpful as well for you. And then I'm going to hit OK. Make sure that this is going to be saved in a place that you want. And otherwise, it'll just go to the default folder for After Effects, and it will take up a ton of memory in your laptop. If you don't have that much memory, it's best to change it. And once you hit OK, it'll start. You can always cancel it. And would you like to finish? I'm gonna say no. So when you cancel and you have various, it'll just say you like to finish their current video that's rendering out. Usually I cancel something when I want that video specifically to stop, so I say no. And then you can always, like, once it does this, it's already or once it's rendered, it's gonna be kind of grayed out. So once it does this, it's already done, which means you can either reset status if you want to re-render it in different quality, or you can just remove, and that will allow for the rest of them to continue. You don't have to remove to continue. It knows when something's rendered or not already. Okay, I think that's it. If you have any questions, let me know. And I try to make it as seamless as possible. Uh, but leave any comments if you need me to review something in another video. Thank you.